My brother Scotty, thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. Big box. I wants to thank you, man. I'm a big fan of yours. Big fan of yours. You know, as boxers, we're a close family. You know, and we watch you coming up and everything. I'm new in this media stuff, my brother. But then again, you know, I'm trying to get a lot of interviews. Scotty, let me ask you a couple questions. I'm very honored and very thankful that we're friends on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so
How
much,
many
Paul. No, I was a big fan of yours. As I was coming up, we were coming up around the same time, and you were throwing down, and I was looking up to you.
how many amateur fights you have, Scotty?
Amateur fights, I don't know, about 80, 82. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of amateur fights. My coach wanted to make sure that I spread out my fights. He'd only let me fight about 10 times a year. So that equaled out to about, yeah, 10 times for the 8 years I was an amateur fighter. And so 82 fights. And I don't know he was just worried that I would fight too much. And he would just pick certain tournaments for me to fight at. Yeah. So just try to protect me as much as he could.
And you're from a beautiful place, Edmonton, Canada. Wow, a beautiful place. Edmonton's nice, up there, right? You still
Yeah,
are you still out there? You
Edmonton's.
still out there?
What's that?
Are you still in Edmonton, right? Edmonton,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I'm still here. It's freezing here. I got to move down south. We've got a foot of snow and it's cold.
You know, I was trying to look for a Michael Carvajal fight
Yeah.
your fight, and I couldn't find it on YouTube. I'm sure I dig on it, I can find it. Now you fought in the Commonwealth game, which is great. Tell us all about that. Took a
Yeah.
gold medal.
Thank you. Yeah,
Took
that was a good fight. I wasn't expected to win. I was on the team with guys like my teammates were Lennox Lewis, and we had a lot of good fighters on my team, and I was really proud to be on the team. But they all the focus was sort of on those bigger guys, and they didn't think I was going to win. So winning that one, um, Commonwealth Games, that was really nice for me, man. That was pretty nice, and to get some attention placed on me because I was not really thought that highly of at that time. I was like 17, just make the Canadian boxing team, so I was a little younger than everybody. But yeah, no, once I started to make my bones, they knew that I came to fight, and I was coming to fight every time I was in there. So those were nice days. Yeah,
the Commonwealth game. It's like a little Olympic Games, right? You have different countries there.
it's kind of like that. Yeah, but it's just different countries that are in the Commonwealth, like with Britain, like England, and there's Scotland and Wales and Ireland and then Africa and all the African countries there, and then Canada, Australia. Uh, so some places, it's all those kind of places that are part of this Commonwealth with the British royalty stuff. I still don't understand it, but I'm champion of it, or was.
And you represented 1988 Olympic Games in Canada, and how'd you do? You know, I know you fought Wayne McCollum too, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah. We fought Wayne. That was my very first fight at the Olympics. I was in South Korea. So the first fight I fought a guy from Indonesia. So not really the boxing capital of the world, but I stretched him pretty good. Then I fought Wayne McCullough in my second fight, and I dropped him a couple times with some body
Did you really? You dropped him?
but yeah, with body shots though, not to the.
What?
He's ridiculously tough. Like
Yeah.
I I beat him up for like 2 rounds.
Yeah.
The third round comes and he's still coming after me. I'm thinking, what are you doing? This guy's crazy, and he just kept. He just wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. So I kept having. I was pretty tired. I think I beat him so good in the first 2 rounds to win the fight, but the third round, I thought that I lost. I thought I lost. He was trying to appoint me the third round. He kept coming and coming and coming and
Yeah.
throwing shots.
I would love to see that fight. You guys both fight the same. He keeps pocket rocket. You get the
Yeah.
bulldog. Oh my god, perfect name for both you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tag his wife on the interview. Cheryl's my friend on Facebook. Yeah, so I'm gonna tag his wife, Cheryl. I love the Colin. This is my brother. And He fought Michael Carvajal in the Olympics too. What?
Yes, then I right after the McCullough fight, then I had to fight Carball. We had a long career together. Like I'd only beat him once, and he had beaten me uh, two times, and then so this was another time to. Yeah, I only beat him once out of the four or five times we fought. Yeah, but he was a really good fighter. You know, very really sharp, very good skill wise. He always found a way to keep me at a distance, and you know with amateur boxing, it's not so much always how hard you hit the guy, it's how many times you hit your opponent and you build up points. And Carbo always had a good way of building up points, and he was a really super good fighter. I'm glad to have fought him. It was nice to beat him once, but it was the very first time we fought, and it was a close decision. So
I remember watching him growing up, and I guess I was watching on ESPN back then. Back then you were on ESPN
yeah.
as professional when you went pro. I remember one thing about you, especially. I think I looked at you had some body shots. Your body shots were killer. You do some mean body shots.
Thank you. That was well, my trainer when I first turned pro was Richie Sandoval, former
Yeah,
Banke.
Richie Tannehill, world champion, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean Richie started to throw me how to dig those shots. He wanted me to fight like a Mexican fighter. So he I don't know of very many people that threw some of the shots that I threw. Richie
Yeah.
was a trainer, really good.
I'll tag Richie. We're friends on Facebook too. I was gonna say so there's a story about you got in your car and you drove to a top rank office and saw Bruce Tramper or yeah, Bruce Tramper, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a story. Tell us a story about that.
I wanted to turn pro after the Olympics, and so I tried to make a few business people, together here in my hometown, and have them sort of sponsor me so that I could fight pro at home. And so they all got together and they turned me down. They didn't want to help me. So then I thought, oh no, now what am I going to do? You know, uh, so I jumped in my car and I drove down to Vegas and I walked into Top Rank, and I was wearing a suit. I was wearing a suit that was made for me in Korea at the Olympics. But I instead of being like 106 pounds, I was about 130, and had this big bushy beard, and 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 I could barely I couldn't even get my suit, the jacket done up. I was so fat, and I hadn't fought for a little bit, but I still wanted to be a fighter. So I walk in the Top Rank office, and Bruce Trapper looks at me and he said, "What are you, a leprechaun?" Yeah. So he kind of turfed me, and then but I came back and came back the next day, and I think they felt sorry that I drove all the way
Yeah.
down to Canada and they gave me a chance then, Paul.
I heard that story. I didn't want to say leprechaun, but I heard that's why I want to make sure you. I heard him say that. I heard the
Yeah.
story about him saying that, but I wasn't too sure. I want to make sure you say it because that's what I heard. I heard. He said, "What are you? A leprechaun? What you want?" And he came over. That's what I heard. I heard that story too. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, man.
and you got Richie Samuel, man. Like you said, W.
Yeah.
I used to work with Richie. I grew up with Richie, man. I love Richie to death, man. Good guy.
Yeah.
And he treats you like a Mexican fighter. He said he wants you to fight like a Mexican fighter. I love,
Yeah.
the name Bulldog is, man, you perfect for you, perfect for you. You know what I'm saying? You're a crowd pleaser fighter. People love the way you fight. I have some of your friends that I didn't even know who they were. I mean, they messaged me, 3 or 4 people. Hey, Paul, thank you for for interviewing uh, Scotty. And I was like, man, okay, cool. I like, thank you, welcome. I looked at these people, like, they were my friends. I go, who are these people? So they're all your friends. but
Oh, that's
but they
nice.
messaged me and it made me feel good, my bro. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you got her.
Your record was 34, 4, and 25, right?
Yeah.
Wow, man, that's
34,
great. That's a great record,
34,
bro.
4-2. Yeah, I had two draws. And I like some of the losses I had one loss that I knew I won, but it kind of evened it out because I had a draw. I kept this IBO world title on a draw one time, and I thought I had my butt kicked, and so the draw kind of let me shut up a little bit about trying to get of my loss, because I knew I won that one of my losses. damn it, but it equaled out because I had a draw and I thought I kept my title on a draw. And
Now, did you fight Michael as a pro too, right?
yeah, so three or four times as an amateur and then once as a pro. Which was,
Where you guys fight at the pro fight? That fight. Where was that fight at? Was it
I
televised?
had to fight him in like Corpus Christi, Texas.
Televised?
Corpus Christi, Texas.
But was it televised? It wasn't televised, was it?
Yeah, it was a pay-per-view one. Um, it was who else was on the show? I'd have to look. I know that I didn't have a very big dressing room, and and I wanted to come up a little bit, but I had a person in the dressing room with me who was Butterbean, and he took up all the room in the dressing room, so I couldn't really warm up very good. But I had to get down to 108.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time making 112 as a flyweight, but I had to drop to 108 and but I still wanted to take the fight. He
We say
finally offered
Butterbean,
me
but
the fight.
Butterbean had the whole dressing room by himself.
He took the whole dressing room up. You know, he said, "Well, he's one of the nicest and most friendliest people." Uh,
I'm gonna tag him on this one too. Butterbean's friend of me. Listen, my brother, I appreciate this interview real quick. Let me ask you a question real quick. I got on late a little bit. I want to ask you a couple questions before we got on. My bad. But can we bring up what happened? A little bit what happened to you with the heart? Can you mention a little bit,
sure,
if you don't mind? If you don't mind.
sure, Paul. Well, you know, I had been selling cars for quite a number of years, about 11, 12 years. I'd been selling cars after I retired from boxing. So I got into that and um, it was the strangest thing because I worked on the Saturday and I didn't do much until let's say, well, it was about midnight, and then 1 o'clock in the morning I went to bed, and then I woke up. I guess some of that's a little bit fuzzy to me, but I woke up, and I guess I told my wife I was complaining of my arm being sore, and I was feeling a little bit nauseous, and I got up, and then I went back to bed, and got up again to go to the bathroom, and I guess I collapsed. So my heart stopped, and I stopped breathing, and it was called a cardiac arrest. So heart attacks. It was a heart attack. It was a heart attack that actually caused my heart to stop. So that's why they call it cardiac arrest. And then uh, they couldn't start my heart. Well, they had a hard time. They didn't start it in the house here, and they usually take about 10 minutes to get to your house. So I was without oxygen for quite a while. My wife had been doing some compressions, so pumping on my chest as best as she could, and then finally in the ambulance just before they got to the hospital, I think they got a little bit of a heartbeat. So uh, with that, they cooled me down. They put me under these cold blankets, and they cooled all of my temperature to try to save some of my brain, I guess. Um, and they put me into a coma. So the doctors put me into the coma, and then they had put some stints in my heart. So little things that keep your heart your arteries, if they're blocked, then they put them, and it keeps those pathways open better. So they did that, and then so then and they didn't think I'd wake up from the cardiac from it, or they also didn't know that if I did wake up, what kind of shape I would be in, if I would, be able to speak or walk and stuff. And my family, they were praying lots, and thank God I was able to come out of. I actually woke up, and then 6 months later, I started taking pills, and I was exercising more, and I was watching my diet, and then I had just a regular heart attack like 6 months later. I'm saying, oh my God, what am I gonna do? So I was starting to feel pretty, my confidence had gone down. My confidence was low. So, but yeah, that's sort of and then I had to go to rehab again to get my heart a little bit stronger, and now I'm feeling pretty good. So amen.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I know. I heard about. I remember. I remember about that. And you
Thank
have
you.
kids. Thank you for sharing a story like that. Appreciate that. Let me ask you. You have kids? Daughter, two daughters, three.
Yep, two daughters, Paul. Yep.
How old are they? You got grandkids out or what? No grandkids out?
Well, thank goodness I'm not quite there yet, but I'm sure I'm getting there like soon. But they start boyfriending around a little bit. So, but so one is 19 and one is 21. So
Right.
it's neat. I was just watching them, excel as young people, and um, I don't let them out of the house too far. I I'm always protective of them, and I have to remember that they're not 14, 15 years old, and I have to remember they're grown ups, and because they at times they just uh, how could I say it to you? They they talk back to me sometimes in, in playfulness and stuff, and sometimes when they're mad, and it just always catches me off guard. But yeah,
We need to get you. We need to get you inducted out here to West Coast. There's a lot of Hall of Fames out here in California. There's a
yeah.
couple games. We need to get you inducted. I'm gonna tag a couple of people.
Thank you.
I'm gonna tag some of the presidents. But let's see. We need to get you out
Thank
here.
you.
The
I
body
love
of
fighting in California. Well, the only
the-
two places I fought were at the forum there. Uh, and so I fought at
Who'd
the
you who'd you
forum.
fight? Oh, you fought Jose Luis. Who'd you fight for the forum? You fought.
Jose Luis Cepeda.
Yeah, and he fought for the title, world title, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, he was a really good fighter. That fighter, nobody was really crazy about fighting him. Like he had tough fights and only lost on cuts to like Ricardo Finito Lopez. He fought Carbajal didn't. I don't think he wanted to fight him too much, and so Top Rank allowed me to fight him. They said, "You want to fight Zabeta?" And I said, "Sure." But I broke my hand early in the fight. It was like the third round and of a 12 rounder. So it's a little hard to kind of have my best game. And so he won by majority decision. And I was like 23-0, but at 18 by knockouts. And really ready position to have that $1 million fight with Michael Carbajal.
Wow.
And then I lost to Zepeda, so then Chiquita Gonzalez got the fight.
Well, man, yeah.
I
Michael
was a
brought the
little,
millions. Michael brought the millions for the little
oh,
guys. I remember
yeah.
that. Great.
He's,
This is Scotty. I appreciate this interview. My jaw's off. I gotta go. Anyways, let me appreciate this interview. Very
yes,
much,
sir.
very honored, man, to have you as my friend. We got a lot of love for you. And thank you, my sister, Ola, for helping us or for putting us together, recording it. I'll post when I get it. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate it. We're really
Yeah,
out of here. I got love for you, Sky. The
thank
Bulldog.
you.
We'll keep in touch. Okay, bro? Thank you.
Thank you, brother. You take care too. Thank you, Olga, and thanks for the invite for the Box family just had a fun day, and thank you, Paul. I always looked up to you and always will.
All right. Thank you, my brother.
All
Okay.
right, brother.